Ancient civilizations, right? They really get the imagination going. All those mysteries, whispers of lost knowledge. It's like we're hardwired to be drawn to that stuff. And from the looks of the book you sent over, The Key of Andromeda, I'd say you're ready to dive into some seriously juicy mysteries.
What grabs me about this book is, well, how big it goes. It's not just rehashing the whole Atlantis thing, you know? It weaves together archaeology and mysticism, even hints at something extraterrestrial. Like, it's piecing together this huge puzzle of ancient knowledge.
So we're not exactly in History Channel documentary territory here.
It's really not.
This feels different, deeper.
Yeah, it just dives right in, throws you right into this discovery. An underground city. But not just any city. This one, it's like nothing we've ever even imagined. Technologically advanced, full of secrets. I'm getting chills just picturing it.
You know, that city, it's almost like a metaphor for all the knowledge out there we haven't uncovered yet, literally and figuratively.
Totally. It's this big, unexplored frontier.
And smack in the middle of this city, we find crystal skulls. But not just on display, you know, like museum pieces. The book makes them out to be more like conduits, objects that vibrate with this energy, and we're just starting to, like, scratch the surface of what that energy is.
And you see that energy, or how some people are more sensitive to it, through the character Michel. When he touches that crystal skull, it's like he's grabbed onto a live wire, only it's not electricity, it's ancient power.
It's definitely like a switch flips in him or something. But before we get too deep into the mystical side of things, let's introduce the players. The Key of Andromeda gives us some pretty intriguing characters.
Oh, yeah, and they're not just there to move the plot along. They each have this distinct approach to the unknown, which I think makes them even more interesting.
Right. We've got Isabel. Starts off as kind of this, I don't know, almost disillusioned archaeologist. She's brilliant, obviously, but feels held back by all those traditional explanations.
Yeah.
And then there's Max. Talk about a skeptic. He's all about the hard evidence, which begs the question, how does a guy like that end up on a wild goose chase like this in the first place?
Well, that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah.
Max is the perfect counterbalance to Isabel. He's the voice of reason, keeping their discoveries grounded, even when they verge on the unbelievable.
It's honest, you know.
Exactly.
And then there's Michel. He's drawn to the mystery, the spirituality of what they find. Super open-minded, which could be a good thing or, you know, kind of scary when you're messing with ancient forces you don't really understand.
Right. And Michelle's the one who, through that crystal skull experience, really pushes the book into the whole concept of spiritual awakening. It's like the skull acts as this catalyst, making him confront a reality that's way beyond his normal perception.
It's almost like he's getting this, like, sneak peek behind the curtain of what we perceive as real. But even before that whole crystal skull thing goes down, we get these hints about Isabel and her mystical side, too. Remember that whole thing with the porcelain Buddha when she was a kid?
Oh, yeah, the broken Buddha, right.
Yeah.
What a powerful symbol, you know. To me, it always felt like it represented how, I don't know, fragmented her own past was. Her yearning for something more, something whole.
Almost like that experience, the way she describes it, all those tears, it planted a seed or something.
Yeah.
And that seed grew into her fascination with these ancient mysteries, her own personal search for meaning, maybe.
And you can see that search lead her to this pivotal moment, that conversation she has on the Nile River.
Oh, man, that conversation, talk about a game changer.
Right.
That just, like, rocks her whole world.
It really does. This mysterious guy she meets, he just drops these truth bombs about this civilization that's older than Sumer, older than anything in the history books, blows her mind.
It's wild. It makes you wonder that all those stories we tell, the myths, the legends, what if they're not just stories, right? What if they're little pieces of some truth that we've forgotten?
Exactly, like breadcrumbs leading us back to something much bigger. And then he drops this other bombshell, Atlantis, and not Atlantis as this like fantasy, but as a real civilization with tech so advanced, it makes our stuff look like toys.
This is where it gets serious, right? If there really was a civilization this advanced that long ago, what happened to it? Where did it go?
That's the question, isn't it? And as Isabel digs deeper, she stumbles upon even more evidence, not just of Atlantis, but of something even more mind-blowing.
And this is where, I don't know about you, but this is where my mind goes straight to aliens. Am I way off base here?
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, the Key of Andromeda, it kind of leans in that direction. Like maybe all this knowledge, this advanced technology, it didn't just appear out of thin air.
It's almost like the book is daring us to look at those old myths.
Mhm.
Those stories about gods in the sky and flying chariots in a whole new light.
Exactly. What if those stories were based on something real, something our ancestors witnessed?
It gets you thinking, right?
Mm.
Especially when you consider how some of those ancient structures, the pyramids, Stonehenge, those were massive undertakings, and we still don't fully understand how they did it.
Yeah, with the technology they had back then, it's mind-boggling. So throwing extraterrestrial influence into the mix, it's not as crazy as it sounds.
It's like trying to solve a puzzle where half the pieces are missing and the other half, well, they glow in the dark or something.
That's a good way to put it.
And speaking of glowing, let's talk about these crystal skulls.
Right. There are more than just artifacts in the book. They're almost like, I don't know, alive in a way, holding this energy, this frequency that interacts with us on a whole other level.
We see it with Michelle and his whole experience. But even before that, Isabel, she goes on this whole quest to understand them. Remember that part where she goes to the Himalayas, that monastery?
Oh, yeah, that was fascinating.
That's Isabel, right? Always digging deeper. She's not satisfied with surface level explanations. She wants to understand the why, the how, the what if.
And there's this clear distinction she makes between the real deal, those ancient skulls, and the ones people are cranking out today. Those old ones, they're not just beautiful objects to her. There's something much, much bigger.
More powerful, right?
Exactly. And the book digs into specific examples like the Mitchell Hedges skull, the one with the detachable jaw, incredible craftsmanship.
Oh yeah, and the Max skull, that was another one.
Right. And what's interesting is where they find these skulls, often places that have this real significant energy.
It's like they're markers on a map or something.
Leading us
To what? I don't know, deeper understanding of our planet. Or maybe even our place in the universe. It's a trip.
It really is. And if you think about those skulls as keys, right?
Yep.
Keys to unlock this ancient knowledge, this power, then finding them in that underground city, that takes on a whole other meaning.
It's like the city itself is this energy vortex or something.
Hmm.
And they just stumble right into it. What are the odds?
Well, the book kind of hints that maybe it wasn't an accident. Maybe they were, I don't know, guided there. Like there were forces at work that they weren't even aware of.
Which makes you wonder, who built this city? And if they were so advanced, were they trying to tell us something? Leave us a message? Maybe a how-to guide for, not messing up as badly as they did?
Right, like a warning. Or maybe an invitation. It's a mystery. But it's not just a puzzle for Isabel to solve. Don't forget, she's also on this massive personal journey, the spiritual transformation.
It's wild how those ancient mysteries seem to mirror what's going on inside her, right? It's not just about uncovering history, but also about discovering herself.
That's it. That's it. And that whole idea of the personal journey, that initiatory path, it's a huge part of what this book's all about. It's like we all have this potential for something more, this deeper understanding of ourselves, the universe, everything.
But it's not all sunshine and roses.
Yeah.
Right? Isabel, she goes through it. She's challenged, tested. There's even that part where she starts to question her own sanity.
Well, yeah. That's where the real growth happens. When you're pushed outside your comfort zone, forced to face the unknown, even if it's scary.
And sometimes that unknown comes in the most unexpected packages.
You're talking about the llama, aren't you?
The llama. I have to admit, that threw me for a loop. One minute they're exploring this ancient city, and the next there's a llama in a cave. What was the author going for there?
I know, right? On the surface, it's kind of funny. But I think it's doing more than just providing a little comic relief.
You think there's more to that llama than meets the eye?
I do. Remember how they describe it? Those wise eyes, always showing up at just the right moment. It's almost like the llama is this guide, from a realm, like a physical embodiment of the spiritual forces at play.
Wow, okay. I never thought of it like that. It's like those old cultures that thought animals were sacred messengers or guardians.
Exactly. The llama could be a nod to that, a reminder that wisdom can come from anywhere, from anyone, if you're open to it.
Okay, so we've got this super advanced ancient city, maybe built by aliens, who knows. We've got crystal skulls that may or may not hold the secrets of the universe, and a wise, possibly magical llama. So where does this Key of Andromeda fit into all of this? What is it?
That's the big question, isn't it?
So we're not talking about a physical key that unlocks a door or anything like that, are we?
No, not quite.
This is more symbolic, right? Metaphorical.
More like a convergence point, I'd say.
A convergence point. Okay, I like that.
Time, energy, and get this, consciousness all meet.
Whoa. Okay, so the Key of Andromeda, it's not just a thing. It's this point where everything intersects.
Exactly. And the book suggests it's not enough to just find this key. We have to, activate it.
Activate. Now, how do you activate a convergence point?
That's where things get really wild. The book talks about a shift in human consciousness being the key, literally. Like tapping into this higher level of awareness, understanding how we're all connected.
Less about digging in the dirt, more about looking inward, yeah.
You could say that. It's about recognizing the power inside each of us, this dormant potential that, honestly, I think ancient cultures understood way better than we do.
In this activation, once it happens, then what? There's that whole new Earth idea, right? But what does that even mean?
It's almost like a vision of humanity moving past its limits. No more ego trips, just pure harmony, living in sync with each other and the planet. It's a pretty bold idea.
So less about everyone fighting and more about, working together. More cooperation, less competition.
Exactly. Imagine facing our problems as a team, leading with compassion, putting the well-being of everyone, everything first. It's a beautiful thought, isn't it?
It's a beautiful thought, but how do we get there from here? It feels like a huge leap.
Baby steps, right. The book says it starts with each of us, our own journeys of self-discovery, shedding those layers of, baggage we all carry, and just being our true selves.
Like, be the change you want to see kind of thing.
Exactly. It's understanding that we're not separate from the world, we're part of it. So as we awaken to who we really are, that energy, it spreads out, it changes things.
We're all connected like pieces of a giant puzzle. And as we become more ourselves, the picture becomes clearer.
I like that. And the book even pinpoints a location, a specific spot on Earth that's key to all of this. Lysis. They call it the most sacred ground in the solar system.
Rice. That's a loaded name. Where is this Lice?
Hidden in Portugal, according to the book.
Portugal. Wait, so we're talking about a real place?
Apparently. It's described as the source of incredible energy, the point where everything began. Kind of a big deal.
So if we're talking about activating the Key of Andromeda, this shift in consciousness, Portugal's like ground zero.
That's what the book wants us to think about, for sure. It paints this picture of Portugal as a spiritual magnet, pulling in people from everywhere who want to be part of this transformation.
A global pilgrimage. Everyone heads to Portugal.
Maybe, but it's more than that. It's the idea that change doesn't happen in a vacuum. We need each other, right? We need to connect, share our experiences, and build that future together.
It's not just about finding this place, but about who shows up and what they bring with them, their energy, their intentions.
Now you're getting it. It's like a symphony, all these different voices coming together to create something new and incredible.
We've covered a lot today. Atlantis, ancient tech, aliens, you name it. It's a lot to digest, even for us, and we've been talking about it for, well, a while now. So what's the takeaway for everyone listening? What do we do with all this?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is remembering we're not alone in this. We're part of something so much bigger than ourselves, something ancient and powerful. The Key of Andromeda, it's just one interpretation. But the message, that's universal. It's about waking up, tapping into who we really are, and realizing we have the power to change things.
So instead of just looking for answers in old ruins, we need to look within ourselves too.
It's not one or the other, it's both. The outside world, it reflects what's going on inside us. When we change our perspectives, our beliefs, even our actions, the world around us can't help but change too. It's pretty cool when you think about it.
So when we dig into these ancient mysteries, we're not just learning about the past, we're shaping the future.
Exactly. And that's what I love about this stuff. The journey never really ends. There's always more to uncover, inside and out.
You know what? You're right. And on that note, I think it's time for all of us to take a breather, let all this sink in. The Key of Andromeda definitely gave us a lot to think about.
It sure did.
So until next time, everyone, keep exploring those ancient mysteries. But don't forget to explore the mysteries within yourselves, too.